Control comes through authority, but authority, parental authority, is something that needs to be released over time. Influence comes through a relationship. So if you have a broken relationship, if there is agony in alienation in your family, I want you to think about this. Instead of trying to control the situation, try to think, what can you do to reestablish a relationship? What can you do to reestablish the relationship? Here's a principle that's really important to remember. The effectiveness of your influence is directly proportional to the depth of your relationship. So how do you begin to reestablish a relationship? Maybe it's reaching out. Maybe it's making sure that you are clear that you're not going to talk until it's welcomed. You're not going to talk about the issues that divide you. Whatever it is, maybe it's showing an interest in their interest. Maybe you have a son-in-law that has an interest that you could care less about. But you begin to show an interest in that simply because you want to establish a relationship with him. So you begin by developing depth in your relationships. If the relationship is completely cut off, it doesn't hurt to reach out and to not push, but to reach out. We had a grandmother in the country of Canada that was listening to one of our events, and we found out later that she had been estranged from her daughter for 20 years. The daughter had cut her off and said, "I will have nothing to do with you." In fact, the daughter had even gone through detachment therapy so that she was receiving professional help about how to cut off all family connections. And this grandmother had not heard from her daughter in all that time, 20 years of no communication. But the grandmother became committed to this concept of restoring the relationship. And she knew that she needed to take the leadership in that. So she found a way to find an address, and she sent a letter. And the letter started with an apology. I'll talk more about that later. But the first thing that she said, "I want to ask you forgiveness for what I have done to hurt you." And she sent a letter reaching out after 20 years. The daughter never answered. This grandmother was Asian, and their family celebrated the Chinese New Year. And so when that time came around, she sent her a Chinese New Year greeting card. And in the card, she said again, "I hope you're doing fine," very low key, not addressing any of the issues at all, that just expressing love to her daughter. And a response came back. And the daughter said, "Oh, and mother, by the way, excuse me." The mother said, "By the way, thank you for asking for forgiveness." And they met for coffee. And I can tell you that that was a couple years ago. And today, the relationship is completely restored. Don't give up, but be willing to think about a new strategy. And maybe the strategy is to work on restoring the relationship. If you want to have influence, influence comes through a relationship.